We're into the Christmas season, and people generally refer to this as the most wonderful time of the year. Unfortunately, New York Giants fans with their team at 2-10 might disagree with that statement. Ed Valentine of Big Blue View here with a new edition of the Valentine's Views podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. We always appreciate your support. All right. This was a difficult weekend to watch football, to be a New York Giants fan. Going all the way back to Thanksgiving Day. Of course, the Giants lost their eighth straight game to this one to the Dallas Cowboys. Miserable season continuing for the Giants. Three quarterbacks in 3 weeks after the release of Daniel Jones, or including the fact, the last game that Jones played. But honestly, Sunday and maybe even Saturday, if you watch the way the Michigan defense played under the direction of Wink Martindale in that epic upset of Ohio State, maybe the entire weekend was difficult for Giants fans to watch. But I definitely know that Sunday was an awful day for New York Giants fans as they looked around the league and looked at what several former Giants did for their teams on Sunday. Of course, Saquon Barkley with another 100-yard rushing performance as the Eagles won their eighth straight game. Barkley, of course, heading for a potential MVP award, within striking distance of the NFL rushing record for a single season, having an amazing season, for the Eagles. You watch the Seattle Seahawks beat the New York Jets on Sunday, and you saw former Giant Leonard Williams traded last season at the deadline to the Seahawks in exchange for a second-round pick. You saw Williams get a pick six off of Aaron Rodgers, which, the New York Giants have one interception all season long, and Leonard Williams gets a pick six with a roughly 90-yard return for a touchdown against Rodgers. Williams had a couple of sacks on Sunday, 2.5 sacks, I believe, plus the pick six. He's having an excellent season for the Seahawks. Former Giants safety Julian Love with a forced fumble in that game, and some other big plays down the stretch that helped Seattle win the game. Xavier McKinney, we know, over in Green Bay, has been having a terrific season, has a career high in interceptions, didn't have one on Sunday, but he did have 9 tackles in what probably is going to end up being at least a Pro Bowl season for McKinney, the former Giants safety. Couple of other noteworthy things. Sterling Shepard, longtime Giant, who we all thought was going to retire after last season, when the Giants barely used him in what we all thought was his final year in the NFL. Shepard's having a nice season for the Buccaneers, had 4 catches on Sunday for 42 yards. Former Giant Evan Engram, 7 catches yesterday for Jacksonville. Engram, of course, having become in Jacksonville the player that the Giants always hoped he would be in New York, and maybe more impressively, when Jacksonville quarterback Trevor Lawrence was hit late by Azeez Al-Shaair during the game on Sunday, it was Engram who was the first one there to protect his quarterback, to challenge Al-Shaair, to stick up for Trevor Lawrence. Engram, always a good teammate, just impressive. And as I said, when you watch all of those things happen on Sunday, very, very difficult to be a Giants fan and see all of that. And what's really amazing and I've said this before, and I think I've written this before at Big Blue View. Each one of those decisions that Joe Shane made in concert with Brian Daboll, each one of those decisions, yes, even Barkley, um, even the Daniel Jones decision that recently got made, trading Leonard Williams, moving on from Xavier McKinney, not being able to re-sign Julian Love, moving on a couple of years ago from Evan Ingram. Each one of those decisions, when you look at the decision itself in a vacuum, you can find a logical, defensible reason for why each one of those decisions was made. Um, it's just amazing. I say sometimes you make the right decision and you still get the wrong result. And sometimes you make the wrong decision and the players make you right. And it's just amazing to me. There was always potential for Barkley to have a fantastic year in Philly. There was always potential for Xavier McKinney to do well in Green Bay. But it's just amazing to me how spectacularly all of these things have embarrassed the Giants in 2024. I mean, the accumulation of all of these things turning out the way that they've turned out is just a terrible, terrible look for the New York Giants. Big part, and when you make all of these moves, the idea is overall to do the right thing for your football team, to make your football team better, to put your team in a better position to succeed in the long term. The Williams deal, for example, 30-year-old defensive tackle who was going to want a big payday and did get a big payday from Seattle. The Giants turned that 30-year-old defensive tackle into 26-year-old edge defender Brian Burns, who's having a really good year for the Giants as well. And I can't argue with that decision in a vacuum. You look at Williams, you look at Burns, you look at the ages, you look at all of that, and I'll take Burns. And yet the hole in that logic, the problem there is that the Giants never replaced Leonard Williams along the defensive line. They never replaced A'Shawn Robinson along the defensive line, another veteran player who left in free agency last offseason. It's amazing how these things have so spectacularly gone sideways for the New York Giants. Hard to fathom that it could have gone sideways to the extent that it's gone sideways. Um, anyway, Giants 5 games left. New Orleans Saints this weekend. Uh, maybe one of the few games that the Giants have an opportunity to win here the rest of the way. Um, Not sure at this point which quarterback is going to play. If I was making the decision, I would choose Drew Lock for the simple reason that I think there's more upside with Drew Lock. I get the fact that there's also a lower floor. There's more possibility with Drew Lock for bad plays. There's more possibility for the negative plays, for the turnovers and things like that. But with the arm talent, with the willingness to throw the ball down the field, I think there's more upside with Drew Lock than there is with Tommy DeVito. We'll see what decision Brian Daboll makes. My guess is that he's going to go back to DeVito. I think that Brian Daboll wants to take the negative plays out of the equation, if at all possible. And I guess my only issue with that is, for me, going with DeVito feels like playing not to be embarrassed rather than playing to go ahead and try to win games, which is what you should be doing, is try to win games. at the end of the Joe Judge era with the Giants, I felt like Judge at times was playing not to be embarrassed rather than playing to win games. And I want to see the head coach be aggressive and want to win and try to win. Um, and to me, DeVito instead of Locke. Now, look, neither one of those guys is the long-term answer at quarterback. Neither one of those guys is a fantastic NFL quarterback. I get that, but for me, DeVito over Locke feels like an effort at trying to minimize the embarrassment rather than going out and trying to give your team the best opportunity to win games. So we'll see what the Giants do here. Season winds down. Not a whole lot of positive to talk about, but as I said, it's amazing to me how embarrassing all of these decisions have turned out to look, um, when you clump them all together and look at what all of these guys are doing away from the New York Giants. Just amazing. And as I said, you can defend each one of these decisions, um, but in total, when you look at it, it's just hard to fathom how sideways it's all gone for the Giants here in the 2024 season. Anyway, Giants fans, that's it. Just a quick show for you today. As always, thank you for watching. Please stay safe out there. Take care of each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.